Buenos dias, bom dia. So I'm here to talk to you today on behalf of Expedia Group. Our mission is to power travel through technology and really connect the world and power travelers everywhere, everyone across the world. And we truly think that travel is a force for good. And I think through all the discussions we've had yesterday, we can see that hopefully we're building more good in Latin America, and we see a lot of good coming in travel as we rebound and rebuild in the coming year. So I want to share some data with you. We're a tech company. We get really excited about data. We're pulling it in from over 220 travel sites that we have in 70 countries. So we've got a lot of data to choose from. And I've got some interesting answers from a survey we've done of over 12,000 travelers in 10 different countries. And we're going to take that information and talk about how you can use that and improve your guest experience. So let's dive in. First, let's look at some information specifically from some LATAM markets and what has happened in hotel demand. And this is information from Q4 specifically. Now, I know we've been looking for a long time comparing data from year over year, or really 2 years, from 2019 to 2022. But I thought it would be great to look at just what's happened more recently. From 2021 to 2022. And if you can look at destinations like Cabo San Lucas, Cancun, definitely Mexico has been, the star of the pandemic. But it's great to see, look at Panama City growing 2,000%. Now we know that maybe in volume, we don't yet, and some of these destinations have the volume we've seen back in 2019, but still this is a really strong rebound. Rio de Janeiro, what we've seen is 95% of the business in Brazil is domestic. It's Brazilian to Brazilian. And just recently in Q1, we're starting to see a rebound of some international travel to Brazil. And if we look at search data, what's happening in search, it still looks very similar to bookings. And so that's really interesting that people are searching and right away they're booking. There's not big variances here. And so Cartagena, we heard a lot of speakers yesterday talking about the importance of leisure destinations, beach getaways. But we are starting to see now international, we're seeing the growth again of city destinations as international comes back. So we'll start to see Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, Lima, Santiago, all of our key cities, little by little, hopefully in Q2 and Q3, these will also start to take part in the rebound. Lots of our domestic leisure destinations have had over 100%, 200% growth. Places like Bariloche, Mendoza in Argentina, Atacama in Chile, the beaches in Brazil. So lots of leisure domestic destinations have just been booming in South America as well. So as we dive into the survey results, I'm going to bring out what have been the top 10 most important results of the survey and then talk to you about what could you do to make these work for you and your hotel. So the overall 3 important conclusions are that people, number one, value travel and personal time more than ever. So I think after being stuck at home, after not being able to travel, we understand that travel is resilient and people obviously are excited to get back and want to travel. But also, people value their time. Lines have blurred between what is my personal time and what is my work time. Working from home makes us really value that we want to make that break and we want to get out and take our vacation time. Second, flex travel is a top priority. When the pandemic came, we all scrambled to change the way we book travel. We need to be able to refund, to give flexibility, refundable rates, and that's something that's here to stay. It's like a right that travelers earned and they don't want to give it back. So this is something that is here to stay. And then travelers are focusing intently on traveling for good. So we heard yesterday from some of our speakers about traveling and sustainability. And this is something that is increasingly on travelers' mind. So how to have a positive impact when they travel. And it's not just about the climate, it's also about impacting the communities. And how can they participate in communities? How can they may it be locally sourced foods or participating in activities in communities where they travel. So, number one, most people will travel in the next 6 months and frequently trips. So this is last-minute getaways. This is quick, at the spur of the moment. I want some adventure. I'm going to go. And so 47% of people in Mexico will travel mostly for work. But 81% of the people surveyed will take at least one vacation with family or friends in the next 6 months. So this is great news. People are getting out, they're getting on the road, and they're going to be staying in our hotels. More than half of the respondents will invest more. So you've heard about revenge travel. This is it. People have been saving up, they're ready to splurge, they're checking off the list on their bucket list, and so it's a great time to think about, can I promote a suite that I have? How do I really put even a better, my best products out there, because people are ready to take their dream vacation. And there's some statistics there on specifically how much people are thinking to spend by their nationality. 40% will use loyalty points. People are ready to burn it. It's use it now before something else could happen. And it's Generation Z. 61% of them are the ones who are most likely and are looking forward to using those loyalty points. So it's miles, it's points, but people are really wanting to use that to take their dream trip. Now, international travel. Nearly 50% of millennials and Generation Z say they're likely to travel internationally. I was just reading today that the UK has also now dropped most of their restrictions, so it's great to see that international travel is coming back very quickly. Seeing lots of flights now being added in and out of Brazil. So I think our intra-regional international travel within South America is also going to bounce back really quickly. So it's great to see this, and this is what we'll be needing to really get the occupancy back up in most of our big international hub cities, our capital cities. Number 5, deals and flexibility remain top priorities for travelers. There's still uncertainty in travel, and so people want to make sure that they will have the flexibility if something should happen, if plans will change. So 2 things here. It's not just, it's getting that deal. So it says they're looking for great deals when booking for their flights, and they want to have flexibility in case they need to change. And as I mentioned before, this is something that they've gotten used to having, and it's going to be really hard to convince someone to have a non-refundable, to not be able to make changes. So this is going to be, when you think about setting up, say, rate plans for your hotels or things like that, really keep this in mind, that if you want to attract today's traveler, this is what is really of fundamental importance for them. Number 6, people will travel more responsibly and conscientiously. And so it says 93% of the people will adapt their travel plans because of the current conditions. In the roundtable yesterday, we talked a bit about this, about the lack or the difficulty in attracting talent and how many hotels are having difficulty finding people to work. The good news is here is our travelers understand this, and they are conscientious about the difficulties, and they are willing to be more patient, to adapt, to wait in line, to wait, because they know that we've had a really hard time in our industry. 21% are ready to tip more than normal because they know that many of our employees haven't had tips in the past 2 years. And so they're ready to lend a hand. And I think this is really interesting. 38% will spend more money at locally owned restaurants. They want to give back. They want to help the community. So I think this is kind of getting into the mindset of where the traveler is. And they really are understanding of the impact that the pandemic had on our industry. Sustainability. It is increasingly popular. So 43% of the people will travel locally. I think this is what is perhaps surprising to many. 49% are willing to pay more to make their trip sustainable. So if you were doubting about what needs to be done to make your hotel sustainable, some of this could actually be funded by the traveler. Would the traveler pay more? Yes, 49% are willing to pay more. And 59% are wanting to go to less crowded places. I think this is great news for Latin America, because we have so many destinations that are off the beaten path, so many destinations that are not crowded by over-tourism. So this is a great opportunity for us to play into this. And we have great opportunities, because this will only be increasing in the coming years. And finally, number 8, after 2 years, there is an increasing the pandemic took a large toll on all of us, both physically and mentally. So people are really looking for wellness in their upcoming travel. 38% prioritize relaxation, 36% want some type of mental well-being. So that's also, how can you communicate to your traveler what your offering is about? Is it a spa? Is it your heavenly bed? Is it whatever you have that can make your guest really know that they are going to be able to relax, disconnect, and get what they're seeking here about personal wellness? Number 9, this is also about a clear reaction to having been cooped up at home, hybrid work that's forcing us to blur these boundaries between what's work and what's our personal lives. So people want to get away and make that clear break between vacation and work. So 77% say, I want to make this separation. 91% have an appreciation for spending time with family, maybe because they couldn't see their family. So anything that has to do with very clearly setting up family rooms, family promotions, connecting rooms that are great for families, anything, because we are seeing this surge of families reconnecting and families traveling together. And 59% are more likely to take a 2-week vacation. There is a study available by Expedia, by our media solutions team, about, it's broken down by different nationalities and what their tendency is on taking vacations, how many days. And it's amazing how in the US, they tend to take very few, many days throughout the year, but never, it's almost even difficult a whole week together and never 2 weeks. In South America, for example, because many people have a month vacation, they will take 2 weeks at a time and then take another week off. But here we're seeing this trend that everyone is wanting to take a 2-week vacation. I explain this because to some people who live in some countries where 2 weeks is like the minimum, that's obvious, but for other countries it's not obvious at all. Oops. So I think overall we have to adapt, but we have to continue to remain competitive in uncertain times. So there are markets where the rebound is high, there's demand, the competition is hot, but we have to really be, I think that the key word here is continue to be adapt and continue to be competitive in times that are still a little bit uncertain. And just some call outs here on what, hang on one second. on what we can all start to do to capitalize on these trends. It's number one, it's make sure that you do have those refunds or credits available if plans change. Flexibility is the king here. That's the key word. Provide range of options and pricings to make sure that you're competitive. Those last-minute travel deals, last-minute bookings, last-day sales, all of those kinds of things to capture people who are taking their last-minute weekend getaway. Offer new incentives and promotions to provide differentiation. Many markets are heating up, and they're highly competitive. Considering new deals for quick trips, and then think about how your company can play a role in loyalty programs. This is going to be increasingly important, and as how can they spend their points or their miles? Is there somehow they can do that at your property? And finally, how can you increase your commitment to sustainability, to local, going local, helping your properties support local communities, and how do you communicate that? And I think in all of these 6 call-outs here, how can you be clear and communicate that to your guest to make sure that what you're communicating, you're also delivering and sustaining it at the property? And you're not creating expectation, then not delivering the service once the traveler arrives. So that's just some tips, some learnings from the pandemic, and just excited to be here and seeing that travel is back. And we've got a super positive outlook for this year. And so the best to all of you and all of us is travel is back. Thank you.